Hi, we are in the third complete comprehensive example where we will deal with forfeiture and reissue of shares along with pro-rata allotment. So let's go to the example sum. Example sum. Bharat Limited invited applications for issuing 2 lakh shares of rupees 10 each. The amount was payable as on application rupees 3 per share, on allotment rupees 5 per share, and on first and the final call rupees 2 per share. Applications for 3 lakh shares were received and pro-rata allotment was made to all the applicants on the following basis. Applicants for 2 lakh shares were allotted 1,50,000 shares on pro-rata basis, and applicants for 1 lakh shares were allotted 50,000 shares on pro-rata basis. Bajaj, who was allotted 3,000 shares out of the group applying for 2 lakh shares, failed to pay the allotment money. His shares were forfeited immediately after allotment. Sharma, who had applied for 2,000 shares out of the group applying for 1 lakh shares, failed to pay the first and the final call. His shares were also forfeited. Out of the forfeited shares, 3,500 shares were reissued as fully paid up at rupees 8 per share. The reissued shares included all the shares of Bajaj. We are asked to give the necessary journal entries to record the above transactions by opening calls in arrears account. So where the amount of allotment or call has not been received, as per the question, we need to open the calls in arrears account and accordingly change the forfeiture journal entry. So let's begin with the working note 1. Working note 1 is the preparation of the 9-column table. On the right corner, we will write the breakup. For application, it's rupees 3. On allotment, it's rupees 5. And on the first and the final call, it is rupees 2. It's issue at par, so the issue price is equal to the face value, which is rupees 10. Let's go ahead with the preparation of the 9-column table. The first column, category. Next column, number of shares applied. Number of shares allotted. Application money received. Application transferred to share capital. Refund. Allotment money due. Excess application to allotment. And the last column, bank to allotment. The category A, against 2 lakh shares applied, number of shares allotted is 1,50,000 shares. And against category B, for 1 lakh shares applied, number of shares allotted is 50,000 shares. Let's check out the total. Number of shares applied, total is 3 lakh shares. It tallies with the question which says applications for 3 lakh shares were received, and the number of shares allotted, total 2 lakh shares, and it tallies with the question again, where Bharat Limited invited applications for issuing 2 lakh shares of rupees 10 each. We'll complete the 9-column table. We'll begin with category A, application money received, 2 lakh shares applied multiplied by 3 rupees per share, 6 lakh rupees. application transferred to share capital, 1,50,000 shares allotted multiplied by 3 rupees per share, 4,50,000 rupees. There will be no refund. Allotment money due, 1,50,000 shares allotted multiplied by 5 rupees per share payable on allotment, 7,50,000 rupees. The excess application which can be transferred to allotment is the difference between application money received 6 lakh rupees minus the application money which is transferred to share capital, rupees 4,50,000 rupees. So that comes up to 1,50,000 rupees, and the bank to allotment figure is 7,50,000 rupees minus rupees 1,50,000, which is 6 lakh rupees. We'll move on to the second category. Application money received, 1 lakh shares applied for multiplied by application money of rupees 3 per share comes to 3 lakh rupees. Application money transferred to share capital, 50,000 shares allotted multiplied by rupees 3 per share payable on application, 1,50,000 rupees. There will be no refund. Allotment money due, 50,000 shares allotted multiplied by 5 rupees per share payable on allotment is 2,50,000 rupees. Excess application which will be transferred to allotment is the difference between rupees 3 lakh and 1,50,000 rupees, which is 1,50,000 again. And the bank to allotment figure is the allotment money due, rupees 2,50,000 minus the application excess which has been transferred to allotment, rupees 1,50,000, comes up to 1 lakh rupees. We'll total the columns. Total of application money received column, 9 lakh rupees. The total of application money transferred to share capital, 6 lakh rupees. The refund column is nil. Total of allotment money due column, 10 lakh rupees. Total of excess application to allotment column, 3 lakh rupees. And the final column, bank to allotment total, 7 lakh rupees. We've completed the first working note, which is preparation of the 9-column table. We'll move on to working note 2, which is details with respect to Bajaj's 3,000 shares allotted. It says here Bajaj, who was allotted 3,000 shares of the group, applying for 2 lakh shares. So he belongs to the first category, A. Failed to pay the allotment money. So first let's find out the allotment money not paid by Bajaj. The columns we will take, we have information regarding the number of shares allotted. So the columns we will take are the number of shares allotted column and the bank to allotment column. In the category A, the number of shares allotted is 1,50,000 shares and the bank to allotment column is rupees 6 lakh. Therefore, for 3,000 shares allotted, Bajaj would have had to pay 3,000 multiplied by 6 lakh divided by 1,50,000. Comes up to 12,000 rupees. So the allotment money not paid by Bajaj is equal to rupees 12,000. Next, let's calculate the amount which is paid by Bajaj. The two columns we will take is the number of shares allotted column and the application money received column. So in category A, the number of shares allotted is 1,50,000 shares, against which rupees 6 lakh application money has been received. So against 1,50,000 shares, it's rupees 6 lakh. Therefore, for 3,000 shares allotted, the amount paid by Bajaj is again rupees 12,000. So we've completed the second working note, which is details with respect to Bajaj's 3,000 shares allotted. The allotment money not paid by Bajaj is rupees 12,000. And the amount which we have received from Bajaj, that is the amount paid by Bajaj, is also rupees 12,000. Let's move on to the third working note. The third working note is details with regard to Sharma, who's applied for 2,000 shares. Details with respect to Sharma's 2,000 shares applied. And it says he belongs to the group applying for 1 lakh shares. So he belongs to the second category, B. We'll begin by finding out the number of shares allotted to Sharma. The two columns that we will take is number of shares applied column and the number of shares allotted column from the second category. The second category we have against 1 lakh shares applied for, number of shares allotted is 50,000. So against 1 lakh shares, the allotment is 50,000 shares. Therefore, in the case of Sharma's 2,000 shares applied for, he would have been allotted 2,000 multiplied by 50,000 divided by 1 lakh, which comes up to 1,000 shares. So the number of shares allotted to Sharma is 1,000 shares. Next, let's calculate the amount of final call money, first and final call money not paid by Sharma. To get the amount of first and final call money not paid by Sharma, we need to take the number of shares allotted to him, 1,000 shares, multiplied by the amount of the final call money per share. In the top right corner, we've written that the amount payable is rupees 2 per share on the first and the final call. So multiplied by rupees 2, the amount payable is rupees 2,000, which Sharma has not paid. And to get the amount paid by Sharma, Sharma has paid the application plus the allotment. So the amount paid by him is 1,000 shares multiplied by rupees 8 per share, which is rupees 3 per share on application plus rupees 5 payable on allotment. Both application and allotment has been paid by Sharma. So total amount received from him is rupees 8,000. So we've completed the third working note also, which is details with respect to Sharma's 2,000 shares applied for. He's been allotted 1,000 shares. The final call money not paid by him is rupees 2,000. And the amount which is received from Sharma is rupees 8,000. So we've completed the third working note also. Let's move on to the solution. Solution. Journal. Date/serial number. Particulars. LF number, debit rupees and credit rupees. The first entry is for the application money received, bank account debit, to share application account for the application money received. The amount received is the total of the fourth column, rupees 9 lakh. The second entry is for the utilization of the share application money, share application account debit, to share capital account, to share allotment account. For application money utilized. The amount against share application account is the amount of the first journal entry, 9 lakh rupees. The amount which is transferred to capital, share capital, is the amount of the fifth column, 6 lakh rupees. And the excess application which is transferred to allotment is the total of the eighth column, 3 lakh rupees. The third entry, we'll make the allotment money due, share allotment account debit, to share capital account, for allotment money due. The amount of allotment money due is the total of the seventh column, 10 lakh rupees. The fourth entry, we will receive the allotment money, bank account debit. We need to open the calls and arrears account for the amount not received as per the question. So calls and arrears account debit, to share allotment account. This is for the allotment money received. The amount to be written against share allotment account to be credited to the share allotment account is the total of the ninth column, which is 7 lakh rupees. The calls and arrears is the amount which is not paid by Bajaj. We've already calculated that it's 12,000 rupees, and the balancing figure, which is 7 lakh rupees, minus 12,000, which is 6,88,000, is the amount has to be debited to the bank account. The fifth entry, we will forfeit Bajaj's 3,000 shares, share capital account debit, to share forfeiture account, to calls in arrears. That's a change in the forfeiture entry because we have opened the calls in arrears account. So 3,000 shares of Bajaj forfeited for the non-payment of allotment money. The amount against share capital, 3,000 shares multiplied by the amount which is called up to the time of the forfeiture, which is application plus allotment, which equals rupees 8 per share. Total amount 24,000 rupees. Again, share forfeiture account, we need to write the amount which is paid by Bajaj and received by the company, which as per our working note is 12,000 rupees. And the amount of calls in arrears, the amount of allotment money not paid by Bajaj is also 12,000 rupees. The sixth entry, we will make the share first and the final call money due. Share first and final call account debit to share capital account, for the final call money due on the number of shares on which the final call money is due is the total number of shares, 2 lakh shares, minus Bajaj's 3,000 shares which has been forfeited. So it's 1,97,000 shares. The amount 1,97,000 shares multiplied by the amount of final call money per share, which is rupees 2. So it comes up to 3,94,000 rupees. The seventh entry, we will receive the final call money. Bank account debit. Again, we will open the calls in arrears account for Sharma's shares which we've not received. To share final call account for final call money received. Against the amount of share final call account, we will write the amount due, which is 3,94,000. Calls in arrears amount, the final call money not paid by Sharma's rupees 2,000, and the amount against bank is 3,94,000 rupees minus 2,000 rupees, which is equal to 3,92,000 rupees. The eighth entry is to forfeit Sharma shares, share capital account debit to share forfeiture account to calls in arrears account. $1,000 shares of Sharma forfeited for non-payment of final call money. Again, share capital account, the number of shares forfeited multiplied by the amount which is called up at the time of the forfeiture, which is the full rupees 10, comes up to 10,000 rupees. Again, share forfeitures, the amount which we've received from Sharma, which as per the working note is rupees 8,000. And the amount of calls and arrears is the final call money not paid by Sharma, which again as per our calculations is rupees 2,000. The ninth entry, we will reissue the shares. We'll go back to the question. It says 3,500 shares were reissued at fully paid up at rupees 8 per share. So it's reissue at discount, bank account debit, share forfeiture account debit, to share capital account for 3,500 shares reissued at rupees 8 per share, fully paid up. Again, share capital, it's 3,500 multiplied by the paid up value of rupee 10 per share, comes up to 35,000 rupees. Against share forfeitures, 3,500 shares multiplied by rupees 2 per share, the discount comes up to 7,000 rupees. And against bank, it's 3,500 shares multiplied by the reissue price of rupees 8 per share, comes up to 28,000 rupees. The final entry, we will pass the entry for transfer of gain on reissue of the share, share forfeiture account debit to capital reserve account for the gain on the reissue of shares transferred to capital reserve. So let's do the working for the calculation of gain on the reissue. Working note. We need to get the amount received from the defaulting shareholders on the 3,500 shares reissued minus the discount on the reissue. The 3,500 shares includes all the shares of Bajaj. So it's amount received from Bajaj's 3,000 shares plus amount received from 500 shares of Sharma minus the discount on reissue as per the reissue entry. It's 7,000 rupees. So we need to subtract that amount, rupees 7,000. Amount received from Bajaj to 3,000 shares. As per working note 2, the amount which is received from Bajaj, 12,000 rupees. Rupees 12,000. And we need to get the amount which is received from Sharma's 500 shares. So we need to do the calculation. This 8,000 rupees is the amount which is received from 1,000 shares of Sharma. We've received 8,000 rupees. Therefore, on 500 shares, we would have received 8,000 multiplied by 500 divided by 1,000. Comes up to 4,000 rupees. So it's rupees 12,000 plus rupees 4,000 minus rupees 7,000. The final amount is rupees 9,000. Let's insert this amount in the journal entry. ₹9,000. So we've completed the journal entries. We will remove the split and have a look at the answer. That's the example sum at the top. The first working note. The second working note. This is the third working note. These are the journal entries, the first screen. The second screen. The third screen. And the final screen.